Hi, my name is Vernita Howard, the founder of SWAT, Survivors with a Testimony. SWAT was founded by a survivor working with other survivors to bring healing where they were wounded. We understand the pain, the stress, the hurt, the fear, the late night cries, the early morning headaches. We walked in similar shoes, yet we pushed through. We believe all survivors can embrace who they are and can define their future and can change the world. Our mission is to put a stop to the various forms of domestic abuse in our communities by providing supportive services such as education and advocacy to survivors and families. We advocate for men, women, and children. Hi. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Vernita Howard. I am the founder of SWAT. We are here tonight with our with our show From the Mouth of a Survivor. We have with us Miss Monica and we also have Miss Nicole. Just a little bit about who I am. Again, I am the founder. I'm an author. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I have many different titles, but at the end of the day, what I enjoy and what I'm passionate about is the gift that God has given me to help other survivors, um, to really advocate for others to make sure that they get the help that they need. So on tonight, we will be hearing from the mouth of another survivor by the name of Monica Fountain. So, Miss Monica, can you introduce yourself to our viewers, please?
Hello, my name is Monica Fountain, and I live in Houston. I'm a mother of four, and I'm also a wife, but I'm getting ready to go through a divorce.
All right. And Miss Nicole, can you introduce yourself to the viewers for us?
Hello, my name is Nicole Watson. I am a certified suicide prevention specialist and a proud life survivor. I supply prevention resources and tools and strategies to influencers and community allies and people who deal with suicide ideation. And as a village, we deliver support and guidance to people who are suffering, and we make sure that they are able to save themselves and to live a life that's free of unresolved pain. And I'm very excited about being here.
Thank you so much, ladies. And I know that what we do is not easy, but I thank you on tonight for taking the time. So we our stories can help someone else, and what we do can definitely help someone else. So on tonight, as I stated before, domestic violence is really real. So I'm going to ask you ladies to chime in and tell the viewers what domestic violence is to you. Miss Monica, you want to start?
Um, it's abuse. Like it can be mental, emotional, physical, and what it means to me is like it's very overwhelming
And it can be.
and emotional. Yes.
Yes. So, domestic violence, if we look at the definition of domestic violence in on the web, in a textbook or whatever, it would say domestic violence is abuse by an intimate partner, right? And so, and as you stated, thank you, Miss Monica, for stating, a lot of times people only think abuse happens if you're physically abused. But abuse happens in various forms. And that's why I love SWAT and what we do, because we don't just educate on the physical, right? We educate on physical, on the sexual, the spiritual, the emotional, the financial. We go in depth and we talk about all of it. Um, and tonight is not about me, but I've been there. So, and when you stated that it's overwhelming, it's very overwhelming. And it's easy for someone to sit behind a desk and tell you what you should do and how you should handle it. But in reality, we're all human. So we handle things different. Miss Nicole, did you want to chime in?
I think you covered what I was gonna say, but I will say that it's also a betrayal, because it happens at the hands of someone that you expect to protect you, to love you, to nurture you. And so I think it's important to name that it definitely is one of the most ultimate betrayals that somebody could face.
Yes. And I think that's what makes it so much harder, because when you go through abuse, it's the person who told you I love you. The person who said that, I'm here to protect you. I'm your protector, right? I'm the person that's gonna, I'm your provider. I'm here to help provide for you. I'm the person that, I love you with everything on the inside, but yet you hurt me. And I think, as women, a lot of times that's what make it extremely hard for us. And I can't even imagine, because we're all women here, but I can't even imagine how a male feel. Someone he's protecting and he's taking care of and he's providing, but yet she's abusive. And a lot of times we don't want to talk about that. We just want to talk about how the woman is hurt, but what happens when it happens to the man? That's something to really think about. So, Miss Monica, um, not putting you on the spot,
Yes.
but we are here tonight to talk from the mouth of a survivor, and you are a survivor. So, can you tell us the forms of abuse that you have overcome?
Sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional.
Okay. So, if you don't mind, just give us a short form. Let's talk about the sexual abuse. Can you give us, without going, so heavy into it, but just a little bit of it so the viewers to understand when you say that you've been sexually abused, what happened?
It started when I was a little girl. It was someone that was real close that I would never thought they would do that to me. Um, it had like 14, 15, and I was afraid to tell my mom because he had like threatened my life. And as I got older, within the last few years, I was finally able to just open up to my mom and tell my mom about how I really felt about everything. And
Just take your time. We're here. We're here to support you through this, and we know that it's hard. Um,
because it's like I'm still kind of like dealing with it because it was going on so long, and then I still face this person to this day. I see this person to this day, like when I do go visit or whatever. And it finally took me courage to just like to speak up, to even text this person and tell this person like, you hurt me, you were supposed to protect me, you know. And I didn't get a response. I I um knew the person wasn't gonna respond to it, but I wanted closure because I beat myself up for this for a long time, like a long time. I beat myself up behind what happened to me when I was young.
so let me say this to you. Um, you can't be responsible for somebody else's actions. Um, you was also a child when this happened, right?
Yes,
And because not just your life was in danger, when they threaten you, they threaten you with your family, correct?
yes,
Okay. So as a child, that's a heavy burden for you to bear because now, not only did you take, you took a part of me, but now you're making me bear this responsibility because of your actions, meaning, um, you violated me, but because of your guilt, you're making me responsible for what you've done. So I want to say to you again, and I want to reiterate to you again, it was not your fault for what an adult done. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, you shouldn't feel guilty because again, it wasn't your fault.
Yes, ma'am.
We see it a lot where people don't want to tell their mom, they don't want to tell their, their dad or whoever because of several things. One, you don't want to see your family get in trouble, and then two, because you was also threatened. So, and I know that you said that you text that person and didn't get a response.
Yes.
Um, so a lot of times it could be a good and bad reason that they didn't respond. The good reason is because he could have responded and not felt remorseful for his actions, right?
Yes.
And then to see it and know it is one thing, but because he never responded, that shows that he's not accountable for his actions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
accountability is very important when you go through abuse. The abusers a lot of times will not hold themselves accountable, but from this point on, this is where you hold him responsible and accountable for his actions until he comes and apologize.
Mhm.
When sometimes you just have to pull yourself away,
Yes.
and if that's how you hold him accountable, do it.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so if that means that you can't be around a family member,
Mhm.
and just let them know, hey, if you want to, I want to have a relationship with you, but if I do, it's going to be on my terms where you can come but your friend can't come. And if this person knows that that person has violated you, they shouldn't even want to have that person around you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and I told you from day one when I spoke to you, I'm always here as a form of support. My team will always be there as a form of support. So even if you can't get to me, when you call the number, somebody will respond. I promise you.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, so Miss Nicole, did you want to jump in and give any words of encouragement to her, or
So, first of all, I'm very proud of you. It takes so much to even speak. And what a lot of people don't realize is that when you go through something like that, the goal is to silence you because your silence protects the person who abused you. Your silence is their ultimate victory because they feel like they were able to completely shut you down. And it makes them feel like the weapon that they formed against you, that it prospered, that it worked. So just the mere fact that you reached out to share your story is a huge win. It doesn't mean that it's not emotional. It doesn't mean that it doesn't still hurt you. But I want you to understand that what you're doing, you are propelling yourself into being healed. You're propelling yourself into having the victory because you're not allowing that thing that happened to you to keep you silent. So I just want to encourage you and tell you that I'm personally proud of you. It takes a lot to be able to say, this happened to me, that happened to me. So keep going. And like Miss Vernita said, we are here to support you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
okay? So you're welcome. So we talked about the sexual abuse. You said you also went through physical.
Yes. And that
Okay.
was my first relationship with my oldest two girls' father. So yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of backtrack a little bit. So your oldest two children's father, how old were you?
20, 22, like 22, 23.
Okay. So you started dating him, everything was good.
Yes.
Okay. So you're
But we
dating
had
them,
our
everything.
first child when we was 14. What, 15? 15, my bad. 15 is when I first started talking to him.
Okay. So
Yes.
you was 15
Yes.
years old when you got pregnant.
Yes.
Okay. So you're still pretty young.
Yes.
You get pregnant and then so were you guys still in school at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you're going to school, you're pregnant. That's a lot of responsibility. Um, so when did the abuse happen? Like during the pregnancy or
No,
after the
this was
pregnancy?
after pregnancy. This is like when in our 20s. When we were
Okay.
like 20, I want to say 22, 23. Yeah.
Okay. So at this time, are you guys living together?
Yes, we're living together.
Okay. So 22, 23, you've been with him, what, 6 to 7 years. So it seems like everything is pretty good. And then what happens? That the abuse starts.
It was most so because we were young, and then he wanted to hang out with other females. Like I was working, I was like the financial person of the home, and I don't know, I can't really tell you because I was doing everything I felt a girlfriend's supposed to do. No, our kids took care of our kids, made sure he was good, I was good. I don't know. I didn't understand what.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Was he working?
No, he wasn't working because he had just got out of jail. So
Okay. So he wasn't working, but he could, and that's emotional abuse because when you want to entertain other females, and if it's something that I told you that I don't feel good about, that's kind of emotional because your emotions is everywhere. So,
yes, because I got
um,
in trouble. I ended up on probation behind my kid's father.
wow.
Yes.
Okay, so this goes a little deeper.
Yeah.
So, okay, you
Because it was like he had control over me. Like even after being older until like a few years ago, he was still controlling of me. Like if he was to tell me to stop talking to somebody, stop dating somebody, I did it and went back to my kids. And I finally had to stand up and was like, no, I can't do this.
and so that's what a lot of people don't understand with domestic violence. Power and control is important to an abuser. Um, when they lose that power, when they lose that control, that's when things really get out of hand, right?
Yes.
Um, that's when you really see side of, I'm sorry, another side of a person. So you stated that you was placed on probation.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, so um, did he get physical with you? You try to protect yourself. What happened?
He was cheating on me. He was taking my baby at the time. She was like, she wasn't even, I don't think she was even a year old. When I was working to the girl house, and I ended up finding out I was young, stupid. My mom, she tried to tell me just to leave him alone, and because I had a good job, I was working at the hospital, and one day, I don't think, did I work this day? I think I was off this day, and I happened to go to the apartments where he was at. and he had my baby there um, with the girl, and I ended up fighting with the girl, fighting with him, and I ended up cutting the girl. So that's how I ended up on probation.
Okay.
Yes.
So after this, you're in trouble. Um, did he get a job? Or you still had to figure it out and be the financial?
We separated because it was so much. I was on probation for 5 years, and I moved back home with my mom, me and my kids. At this time, I have 3 kids, and so I went back home to my mom. It was like hell. Right? It just felt like my world was turned upside down. I lost my job. On probation, trying to figure out how I'm gonna take care of my kids because I wasn't working. Had to rely on my mom. Um, it was a lot.
Wow.
Yes.
So,
I was still
right.
like kind of going back and forth, trying to be with my kid's dad, and my mom. She had to show me tough love. She gave me kind of back pulled away, even amidst me being on probation and everything. Like she had to, because I wouldn't listen. I kept trying to be with my kid's father, and my mom. She had enough. So
And I could understand. It's like, look, you done got in trouble. You've lost everything, but yet you want to go back. But then that's called trauma bonding, where, um, you just can't get enough and you feel like it's love, right? You
yeah,
feel like that bond is there. I don't want anybody else to be there, right?
yes,
But and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been there. I didn't understand what it was. Um, but then on the inside, you feel like, how dumb can I be? Not calling you dumb because I had to ask myself that, right?
yeah. That's
So it's like, I know he truly don't care, but why do I care so much? And so I have to say this to you is just because things happen, your feelings don't go away overnight, right?
no.
A
It's
lot
a
of times
time.
people want, if something happened, boom,
Yes.
just complete cut off. Your heart should be hardened, this, that, and the other. But it don't happen that way.
No.
And so with you going back, that tells me that it was a trauma bond there. Like you done all this stuff, but this bond, I rather feel secure knowing who you are and what to expect out of you instead of starting over.
Yes.
And I can promise you, you're not the first and you won't be the last.
Yes.
We see it, we hear it, and we talk this every day,
Yes.
right? And so you get out of this relationship, do you get into another one that's physical or
Um, After the relationship with my kid's father, I end up meeting my um. It was some years later because I was still chasing baby daddy.
right?
So after I met my youngest, my 13-year-old dad, he was nice. He was not abusive. He was a sweetheart. But
Okay.
didn't too much work out with that because I was still worried about the baby
And that's exactly what I was about to ask. So, um, you get with someone who will probably be a great provider,
daddy.
will
Yeah.
probably be a decent person, and because you're so tied to the abuse,
Yeah.
you you bonded to the abusive one
Yes.
that you let this one just fly by. And it's like, you're kind of waiting like when it's gonna happen, you know. And then when it don't, it's like, oh, you're weak. But in reality, that's what a true man do. He takes care of home. He loves you for who you are, and he want to take care of the family. But when you have been through abuse, it's a lot for a
Hard.
person to accept.
Just
Um, all the drama that comes along with you because your bond is somewhere else, you
Yeah.
know. And I can imagine like it's an emotional roller coaster,
Yes.
right? So not
Yes.
just for that person that tries to date you, but you're taking them through an emotional roller coaster because yet you have a bond with the person who truly don't care.
Yes.
The person that's going to hurt you and you know they're going to hurt you. And so until you actually sit back and you tell it and you digest this, it's like, man, I let this truly happen, but it's really not you. It's like it's like a domino effect, like almost. You're happy with an abuser, but yet you can't accept someone who would truly care for you because the abuser said, I care. The abuser said, I love you. You know what I'm saying? And when
Yes.
somebody actually come in your path that says it and that means it, it's hard to accept. All
Yeah.
right. So then you date your 13-year-old's father. That don't work. Did you find yourself back
No,
to your
no,
oldest children?
no. I end up moving forward. That's when I met my husband.
Okay.
Yes. And
So that
ma'am,
I'm sorry, I hit myself off the screen, but the husband that you have now.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my question to you, and maybe Nicole want to jump in on this. So you went through the trauma bond with your oldest dad, and then you get with your 13-year-old dad. And now you're in another relationship. At any time, did anyone speak to you and say, Monica, you need to find out who you are. You need to find out, your worth, your values. What is it? Did
Uh,
anybody sit down and talk to you about that?
um, it was after me being in a relationship with my husband because I took all that hurt and pain into that relationship because I wasn't healed. No one never set me down and told me to find me, love me. And within these couple of years of me being separated from with my husband, well, just a few, yeah, from the first time we separated, that's when I started to learn to love on myself, to take the time out for myself, to be there for myself. And I didn't have it. No one taught me, nobody told me, but like my best friend who actually introduced me to Miss Howard, um, we will talk because we were close, and she's like, sis, we gotta take this time for ourselves, find us and see what we like, date ourselves.
So let me say this to you. I'm married, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I have a good husband. I can say that. But I still take myself on dates. And it's important that me time,
You need, yeah, it's like sometimes
that
you keep
me
away from
time.
the kids. You need that me time.
Woo, I've had all 5 of my grandchildren this week, but the me time is
Yeah,
important.
yes, ma'am.
And honestly, like, I take myself on dates. I get dressed up and I take myself out.
Yes,
You know why? Because if I can't beautify myself for myself and I can't find that happy place within myself, I can't make anybody else happy. You know, and if I look in the mirror and see nothing but flaws, sis, I'm the only one that can fix that flaw that I see.
yes,
And if it's something I'm like, V, you might want to do that, I have a pep talk with me.
Yes, I have.
Um,
I do that also. I look in that mirror like, girl, you beautiful. Girl, this, man. I motivate myself instead of worry about somebody else telling me. Because that's even when guys come up to me like, you this, you this. I'm like, oh, I know, thank you. Like, I don't try to be conceited, but that's not gonna get you to talk to me. Like, I done been through so much. I done came through so much, and I'm in a right now in still dealing with things with myself, finding what I don't like, what I do like. I'm still learning myself.
right. So just wanted to throw that out there. So, okay, so we talked about um the physical, we talked about the sexual, but through everything that you've been through, I want to say this: I know that depression and other things you thought you battle with,
Yes,
right?
yes, ma'am.
So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
That I battle. Oh, I battle with depression. I battle with suicide. Mm, it's very emotional.
It is.
I learned to talk about it because I shut myself away like from the world. I literally for up to 6 years, I literally like would stay at home and like family or people would come over. I'll interact with them for a little while. Next thing you'll see me, I will just pull myself away and go lock myself in the room. Even I caught myself doing this with my kids. I was pushing away from my kids, and it took a lot, a big toll on me.
So this part of the interview, I'm gonna switch over because this is part of Nicole's expertise. So I'm gonna let her kind of lead from here a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you. So, whenever it comes to depression and whenever it comes to, dealing with suicidal ideation, what a lot of people don't know is that it doesn't always go away, right?
No.
It doesn't always leave your mind. Sometimes you deal with it over and over again. So, what tools did you learn how to grab? You know what I'm saying? When you felt that way, when you felt like you were going to give up or you wanted to give up, what did you reach for?
Um, when I wanted to give up, I tried like taking my life away by taking pills. Um, I got cut my when I was younger because of the sexual abuse. I was like cutting my wrist. It that was it.
How did you come out of it? Like, how did you make the decision that you didn't want to end your life?
My kids, um, my kids, my kids, like they a big total of my life. Like they my everything. And that's what made me kind of change my ways of thinking with suicide. Like with something when I go into depression and stuff, I'll I journal, I write now like in a journal, and it relaxes me, it cools me down, keep me calm.
So, when you are going through those things, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the things you say to yourself to encourage yourself or to talk yourself through the moment?
I pray. I listen to church music. I cry. Mm, but yeah, pretty much.
And I
Now,
think that's
oh, and
oh, go ahead.
I will call like talk to my best friend.
And I think that's important, when we think about people who deal with suicidal ideation, you have to already know what you're going to do because that moment is going to hit you out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you're going to be driving down the road and something is going to happen and it's going to send you somewhere. And so you already have to know what to do ahead of time
Yeah.
before that happens. So I'm going to give you a moment to empower yourself and to empower the people who are going to be listening. Somebody is going to be watching this show. Somebody's watching this show right now in the
Mhm.
future. And they are thinking about ending their life. They are thinking about taking those pills. They're thinking about jumping over that bridge, whatever the case may be. What would you, as a survivor, say to them?
Don't I was as a survivor of suicide, I would tell them it's not worth it, especially if you have something to live for, like my kids.
And I think, it's one thing for someone to say that to you
Mhm.
and they haven't been through it.
Yes.
But when you are to the point where you know people love you,
Yes.
you know it might get better. You know, everybody says it's going to get better, right? But
Yes.
when you are at the point where you don't care if it's going to get better or not, you just know that the pain you're in right now, you don't want to be in it. That's
Yes.
a real place. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yes.
think it's important that when you come from that place, you use your position because here's something that I believe.
Yes.
I believe that when you overcome something, you have authority in that realm.
Yes.
So, for example, I have survived over 22 suicide attempts. So, I have authority in that realm. So, when people come to me and they are suicidal, I can operate in an authority that other people do not have
Yes.
because they have not fought that and won. Miss Vernita has authority in the realm of domestic violence because she overcame in that realm. You know what I mean? And so
Yes.
I think it's important for you to remember as you're going through your life, you have authority in that realm. You have authority in both realms. So
Yes.
if you get into a situation where somebody is trying to abuse you, somebody is trying to hurt you, whether it's a friend, whether it's a boss on the job, whether it's a boyfriend, whether it's whoever it is, I want you to always remember that you have mastered this thing to a point that you have authority. You have authority in what you say, you have authority in what you do. You can say, I'm not going to take this from you. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want to encourage you to add to your affirmations and the things that you say every day
Yes.
that you have authority. You walk in authority and power in
Yes.
those areas. And that's all I have to say, Miss Renita.
Thank
Thank you so much, Miss Nicole. Monica, thank you so much. So again, you have your friend that you can call, but you have someone that's always available 24/7. That's, all you have to do is speak in authority over your life.
you.
Um, and I will tell you, what I tell my friends, my board, whatever, you have that authority. It's and there's resources. That's what I like about what we do at SWAT. Starting June 1st, we have a program. It's called Love Thyself. We also have one called Reveal to Heal. Those are two that will be very beneficial to you.
Yes.
Not only, and then we have our support group called My Village. That will start in May, and
Okay.
and so um, it'll start in May, but you will get a chance to actually talk with others, so you'll have a clear understanding. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. Um, we're here to support you. And that's why we put programs together the way that we did. We want to hit every aspect that we could. And I like what Miss Nicole reminded you of. Again, as I told you before when we interviewed you on here, but what I like that she said is, um, and that's why I make sure she was here because I couldn't cover that aspect. You understand?
Yes,
And that's where it's important, as I network with others, when I hear the stories, when I go through it, to connect you with someone
yes,
that can understand where you are. I'm not the type that's just going to tell you to pray, but I'm going to say, pray
ma'am.
and resources, because I will tell you, um um prayer without works is dead. Like, so if you don't have the resources, somebody to supply what you need, I just wasted your time. You understand?
Yes,
I can help you when it comes to the domestic violence. I can't help you with the suicidal
Ideation.
ideations. So that I can't.
yes,
And so, with what you've done today, your healing will come more and more as you tell your story,
yes,
right?
yeah,
So, it's like, I know for me, every time that I tell just a little bit, it's so much lifted off of me, right? And it's like, man, I'm going through, but somebody else has been through a little bit worse than I have.
yes,
Yeah. And so for me, every time we do this, we're giving my son a voice, right? My
mm-hmm.
son I never got a chance to hold him or anything. He was deceased. As soon as, I didn't get to smell that baby sink, you know what I mean? And so I had to give birth and prepare a funeral at the same time. And so this right here gives him a voice. So every time you tell your story, I tell my story, whatever, it gives my son a voice. Like, listen, this is going to help somebody. Okay. And so I want you to know, the steps that you have made today.
Yes,
Um, I had to give it over to Nicole because I'm a crybaby and I've done everything I could to hold myself together, right?
yes,
And so, my heart goes out to you. But one thing I can say to you is, um, you're going through the emotions, but when you overcome it
yes, ma'am.
and you're able to really tell it
Yes,
without the tears, that's when you know the healing has transpired.
yes,
3 years ago, when I started and just really going live telling what had happened to me, I was crying every single show.
yes, ma'am. Yeah, because I can.
Not only,
Oh, okay, I can tell like from the sexual abuse part, I am healing from that part because when I said I beat myself up, I beat myself up. And it's like I didn't understand, and then the situation, everything, it was hard because that's like somebody I trusted, I looked up to, never thought would do this, and it played a lot in my head. Like
they did.
it bothered me a lot. Like it was like it just real emotional. So I used to cry a lot about it. I went into depression, was down. I didn't too much trust other like men around my kids, and it was hard for even in being in a relationship. It was hard because of what happened to me, and I have girls, and I also have a son because it can happen to my son too.
Right.
But
Mhm.
it was, and that's why I think why I dealt too with so much of the abuse from the father of my kids. With the husband, it's not. Physical is more emotion. It was emotional, and I trusted him with these things. And he went back and put it on the internet what had happened to me, and did the most. So I have like now I'm learning from with that. Like it's hard for me to if I decide to be in another relationship to just open up like I did, like with him because I trusted somebody else that I never thought they would just run with it and tell. So yeah.
Right. And so what I'll say to you is take this time now
Mhm.
to learn Monica.
Yes, ma'am.
Take this time now to love Monica. Take this time now to encourage Monica,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
take this time and make it about Monica.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, when it's your Boaz, as the older people say, you will know.
Yes, ma'am.
You won't have to worry or question what has happened to you. First of all, because a lot of it will be revealed to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, and you really won't have to speak it. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, Emotional abuse, and you can tell that it bothered you,
Mhm.
that, he put it out there. So that's emotional abuse. Abuse is abuse, and nobody deserves to be abused, no matter what form or fashion, right? So, but I will say to you, take this time and just love on you. Take this time and learn your children, because we could be in a house with somebody every single day
Mhm.
and do not know them.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and as a reminder, your children see everything that you go through. They've
Yes.
seen everything that you went through. So that's not fair to them. So
Yes.
somewhere down the line, you got to say, look, I'm going to break this generational curse. It stops with me. It stops with my children. It stops with my family.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
in order to do that, you have to show them your strength. And it's okay to show them your weakness, because that's how they learn.
Yes, ma'am.
But what you can install in them from this point on is, we're going to be healthy. We're not going to deal with violence. Um, I'm going to show you how I love me. And then that way, I can truly show you how, how much I love you. But
Yes.
if you jump out now and jump into another relationship, all that baggage is being over and over and over and over. Not only that, you're bringing your baggage and you don't know what that baggage. And when you bring it all together and when everything explodes, you find yourself in another abusive relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
And for me, honestly, I became a magnet to abusers. You know, they will start out amazing, and then the next thing you know, it was boom. Like everything flew up. And abusers know, as we talk about power and control,
Yes,
they
ma'am.
know how to be the sweetest people in the world. They get all the information they need so they can control you.
Yes, ma'am.
But the ammunition that you have is to make sure that Monica is healed before she step into another relationship,
Yes,
because you have children now. So everything they see you settle for, when they settle for it, you don't have a right to say anything to them. I seen it with my own child.
yes, ma'am.
And because of all she's seen me go through, I ha- I don't have a place to even say anything, because they seen what I allowed, right?
Yes.
You can't do that with your children.
Yes, ma'am.
So every morning when you look in that mirror, you tell yourself, "Good morning, gorgeous," because
Yes.
I do.
Um,
um, You tell yourself, girl, you got this.
Yes,
No
ma'am.
matter what's coming your way, you tell yourself, girl, you got this. And you tell yourself what you're not going to accept. Look, Monica,
Yes.
you may have needs, but you're not just going to accept any Joe Blow. You're not going to accept Boaz cousins and them, the lying ones, the cheating ones, the no good ones. You're not going to accept any of that.
Yes, ma'am.
The ones that's going to disrespect me, that has no respect for my children, I'm not going to accept that. And continue to look at yourself and say, good morning, gorgeous. You
Yes.
got this, because you do.
Yes.
And then when you get to that point where you feeling weak, reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Miss Nicole. If you send us an inbox, we're gonna return that inbox within seconds.
Yes.
That's just what we do. You have SWAT's information, you have mine. Reach
Yes.
out.
Yes, ma'am.
But heal. So, ladies, thank you guys so much. Just to speak to those that are, and we're gonna close out right here. But just to speak to those that who are watching, um, so again, it's SWAT bringing you um real life stories from real life people. But if you're going through a domestic violence situation, there's a couple of things that I need you to do. I need you to start preparing yourself to leave that situation. I wish that I could tell you that leaving will save your life, but I need you to be prepared for some things, okay? So what I need you to do is make sure you have a copy, if not the original, of your children's birth certificates, of your birth certificates, your social security cards, your IDs. Find someone who's not just a running mouth, but a listening ear, who may will let you put some clothing for you and your children up, that you can actually talk to. But I want you to develop a safety plan to leave. If you don't know how to develop one, SWAT's information is scrolling below. Reach out to us. We will help you get one together. We will help you with resources in your community. We are in North Carolina and we are in Indiana, but we serve. We serve all around. So no matter your location, no matter where you are, we're here to serve you. We also want to make sure that you're prepared. Leaving and starting over, I wish that I could tell you that it's easy, but it's not. Um, but that's why we want to educate you and make sure that you have the proper paperwork. Make sure that you have a plan in place. If you're in an abusive relationship and you have just left, I need you to change up your routine. Change up your routine, and don't do the same things that you normally do. These are just some key things for you. So, Miss Nicole, do you have anything that you want to say to the viewers?
Just if you are experiencing suicidal ideation, if you feel like you can't make it, if you want somebody to talk to you, to talk you through it, you can definitely call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and the number is 800-273-8255. 800-273-8255. The other thing you can do is text the crisis text line, and that number is 741-741. So you can text the word home, you can text the word help, whatever you want to text, to 741-741, and somebody will assist you. Do not ever suffer in silence. Do not ever think that your struggle doesn't matter. Always know that you are important, your life is important, and that there are people who care about you and who want you to make it. That's it.
Thank you so much. And Miss Monica, do you want to say anything to the viewers?
Um, it's oh man. I pretty much said everything, but yeah, it well. If you are in the domestic violence, get away from that person.
So you heard it from the mouth of a survivor. I want to say to all of you who is watching, um, who will come back and watch, we thank you for taking the time out. Again, SWAT, do what we do. If you ever want to donate, if you ever want to see all that we have to offer, let's go to our website, www.survivorswithatestimony.org. If you're in a crisis, you can give us a call at 888 522 7928. And if you just have any questions, you can always email us at info@survivorswithatestimony.org. Thank you guys for tuning in. You all have a blessed night.